I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I grew up mostly in Latin America. My father was a diplomat, so I was moving around from country to country. So I think I have a pretty much multicultural background. I even went to French school, British school, American school, Mexican school. I did my master's in Holland, so I have a little bit of European culture as well. And I think it's really helped me in the profession because I kind of have this ability to understand the different cultures and what makes them click. And of course, at Cheil, I do a lot of work with Samsung, which is a very global brand. And I'm actually in charge of all their overseas brand experiences. I studied architecture, and I'm kind of a nomad. So I started off as a researcher for a construction firm. I was doing research on new construction technologies. And then it got a little bit boring, so I switched to architectural design. And then that got boring as well, so I switched to interior design. And after that, I did my second master's in Holland, and I came back to do architectural design. But after 14 years of working in this profession, I found out that the profession was a little bit slow-paced for me. I wanted something that was quicker, speedier. So I wasn't really interested in brand experience per se. I just wanted to go somewhere where I could explore more ideas quicker. And by chance, I stumbled upon this opening when I applied. And after that, I've been here almost 4 years, and it's been the longest job I've had in my life. Well, actually, my presentation today was more about sharing my experience in brand experience because I consider myself still a newcomer to the field. I'm not really an expert. So I just shared my work and what I learned in the process. And it was about reframing brand experience via my own frame, which was context. Because in my work I've learned that context can be used to maybe design an impression, to give a different perception of things. And I explored, let's say, the different frames that I learned via my work. And they included things like timing, which you wouldn't normally consider context. It included economic viability, brand power, because I wanted to give a different perspective of what context is in brand experience. Basically, a lot of my work for Samsung Mobile more specifically, I showed a bit of the transformation of the Samsung Galaxy Studio, which is Samsung Mobile's experience platform, and also how we adjusted the Samsung Experience Store, which is Samsung Mobile's retail outlet, to align it with the experience platform. Aside from that, I also showed a proposal that we had made for Samsung, and it wasn't a client request, it was voluntary, because we saw an opening when Samsung started to move into the wearables market. And that's when I arrived at the conclusion that context is timing, because by the time we pitched the proposal, which they really liked, and it was very well received internally as well. But interest in Samsung had sort of shifted into the world of IoT. So wearables were not their main thing anymore. So the project is currently on hold. Well, actually, we don't get to do it as much as we would like. We do have a sort of a research branch at Cheil, so they kind of take care of that, and we receive the data and we process it, because I think raw data is important, but it's more important how you interpret it. And we do our own research as well, but we try to interpret the data that other branches within the organization sort of gather for us. Before we do a brand experience, we actually get some test products from the client, and we use them. We try to wear them, we try to use them and see what the key benefits are as well. So yeah, that's the kind of research that we do within our, let's say, our team. And whenever they come up with a new product, we get a prototype, and we use it for a certain period of time before deciding what the key benefit is and what kind of experience we want to design for that product. What's the best environment, or what is the key aspect that people should experience in order to understand a product. So we go through that kind of process before we decide on something. I think with time it's gonna have as big an impact as internet. Right now it's at a very early stage, and people do not have access to any of the benefits because they don't own any of these devices. I think once we have this explosion of all brands going into IoT, and Samsung has promised to have all their products IoT ready by 2020. Once they have this network of IoT ready products, I think it's completely going to change their lives, because you won't need to make any decisions, any trivial decisions like turning off the light. You don't need to do that. It will do it automatically. It will have your coffee ready when you get up. It will open the blinds and close the blinds when you go to sleep or wake up. So I don't think it will necessarily impact, let's say, transform the way we live, but it will definitely transform how we, let's say, how should I say this? How we behave within our home environment or our office. The great thing about the IoT, I think, will be that wherever you go, you will feel at home, because IoT will always know what your preferences are, and it will adjust automatically.